We have spent a ton of time, and we will continue to spend a ton of time talking about the quarterbacks in this upcoming draft at the Cleveland Browns. And lately, there have been a lot of ties between certain coaches and certain quarterback prospects. You have the Jalen Milroe, Tommy Rees connection at Alabama. You have the Pat Shurmur and Kevin Stefanski connection with Deion Sanders' son, Shedeur Sanders. There's also now a Deion connection to Bill Musgrave, who's the Browns' new quarterbacks coach. And we found a clip from CBS Colorado of Deion talking about his connection with the Browns' new quarterback coach. Let's play that clip and then let's react to it.
My favorite Super Bowl memory is a guy named Billy Musgrave, who was our scout team quarterback. Great player on his own right, but he played on the scout. We had Steve Young, NFL offensive MVP. Billy worked his butt off, prepared us, really got us right. But he never played because of Steve Young. So during the Super Bowl, we're kicking San Diego's butt. And I go to George Seifert and I say, put Billy in. And he looked at me like, I said, no, man, put Billy in. And he put Billy in. And Billy got to throw a pass and Billy got to play in the Super Bowl. And that's my fondest memory, man. That's really my fondest Super Bowl memory, that Billy got to play, man.
That was Deion talking about Bill Musgrave.
Yeah.
And I just want to, you could react however you want, but I just want to throw this question out there to you guys.
Yeah.
Are we making too big of a deal, not enough big enough deal, or the appropriate level of deal for any of these quarterback and coach connections?
Well, first of all, hold on. The fact that Bill Musgrave and Deion Sanders played football at the same time is almost impossible. Musgrave looks like he's 40 years older than Deion. How did they play football at the same time?
Because black don't crack.
No, there it is. That's fair. That's fair, Tyvis. But this is another level right here.
This is a Benjamin Button type
I
stuff.
mean, come on. Bill Musgrave looks like he's like 90.
Well, Deion also got like hair transplants.
I hear
and
you.
stuff
It's
like
just that looks crazy. But anyway, go ahead. What were you
That's
going
what
to
working for the Browns does you. It ages
Yeah,
you.
maybe that's it.
What I was going to say is I do think that we are overanalyzing it because, to be honest with you, everybody's looking at that like, oh, because of that connection, they're definitely getting Shedeur. No, honestly, when I heard that clip, you know what it made me think of? Dang, Kevin did a good job of getting a guy like that. You know, to get a guy that can go in there, although he never really played, he understands the game of football. And that's what it's about. Some of the best coaches that I have never played professionally, but they understood what you had to look for. It's about making sure the player's eyes is right, making sure that his technique is right, and things like that. And this Bill Musgrave guy, obviously, he does a great job of analyzing the game of football, and he can communicate to quarterbacks and help people understand what is trying to get done. What that means is if they do decide to get any quarterback in this draft, he will do a great job of helping them understand the game from a different light, and I think that that'll help him shine on Sunday. It doesn't necessarily have to be Shedeur. I respect the coach for being able to coach and be able to analyze the game of football like that and being able to break it down to where you can help a guy like Deion win a Super Bowl and be prepared for a Super Bowl game.
Yeah. Well, you said that we're overanalyzing it. We are not. There are others in the media.
Not when I say we, I mean
the idea that
so
any
you
of
are in the media.
no.
the idea that any of these connections are why they're going to draft somebody is the stupidest thing ever. Where everybody wants to read something in. I know Jay yesterday said, well, because Myles Garrett, they said Myles Garrett's going to stay forever. That was his reasoning for why they're going to draft Jalen Carter. Jay, I love you, but that makes
Abdul Carter.
Yeah. That makes no sense whatsoever. That makes no sense. Connecting Tommy. The only thing good about those things is that you have a connection to information. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. The Browns are not drafting Abdul Carter because they're keeping Myles Garrett. They're not drafting Jalen Milroe. I'm not saying they might not draft these guys, but that wouldn't be the reason. They didn't hire Tommy Rees to be OC because they're planning to draft Jalen Milroe. That's absurd. And anybody who would think that's the case is out of their mind. And by the way, even if they end up drafting Jalen Milroe, I still will 100% never believe that that was the reason Tommy Rees got the job. Well, does Tommy Rees have some insight on Jalen Milroe?
For sure.
Sure. But that has nothing to do with these connections are ridiculous. We're just looking for things to talk about.
For the record, both Tommy Rees and Bill Musgrave worked for the Browns last year.
Yes.
So unless this is some multi-year conspiracy,
it's absurd.
And by the way, you can't take Jalen Milroe and Shedeur Sanders. Or maybe they are. Maybe they are going to take.
I mean,
Like, so which is it? Did they put Tommy in place for Shedeur?
And Abdul Carter, because,
I mean, come on. This is why I hate draft season. It drives me crazy because it's a nice little storyline. It's fine to see
you
that.
something to talk about.
But do you really think, and by the way, I'm on record. I said last week, if you like Shedeur, if you believe he's the guy, you don't worry about his dad. You don't worry about, just take him.
Yeah.
Just take him. But do you really think the Browns are sitting there saying, well, Deion don't want his kid to come here, but if we go back and we get the coach that he liked 25 years ago, that's going to make everything better, and that's going to make Deion say, oh, well, okay, go ahead, because that's going to be your quarterback. That has nothing to do. It doesn't erase the last 25 years of incompetence by the Browns. That has nothing to do with how Deion would feel about the Browns, because Bill Musgrave is the quarterback's coach.
There's one more connection we didn't mention, but Pat Shurmur, who's the offensive coordinator at Colorado with Deion and Shedeur, is friends with Kevin Stefanski. And
yeah, but Pat Shurmur was also the coach here.
Well, that's what I was
he
getting
terrible, and it ended.
Let me just get to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I saw people yesterday online being like, oh, they're putting two and two together, the puzzle pieces, the gift.
You have to stop. You have to start ignoring these people.
Yes.
No, I think this is what the Browns community's talking about. But then I mentioned to one of them, do you think Pat Shurmur, despite his friendship with Kevin Stefanski, would be inclined to give extra information, maybe withhold it from other teams, and feed it to the Browns with the same owner that was there who fired him, and they were like,
Man,
oh, yeah, I hadn't considered that.
First of all,
Jason Lloyd is over here blinking so tough.
I'm going to be
Like,
honest
come on,
with you.
bro.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If Pat Shurmur is doing something like that, if he's not giving out information.
He's hurting Shedeur.
Yeah, he's hurting the player, and he shouldn't be coaching, because that's messed up
That's
that you're
not
doing
happening.
that to a kid's future.
That's not happening.
That's
By the
dumb.
way, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Pat Shurmur, because when he was coaching here, before he got fired, like Dustin and I were, especially me, was killing him, obviously. No. And he asked the two of us to meet with him in his office. And we had a meeting with Pat Shurmur, Dustin and I.
Yeah.
About
And
what y'all said on the radio.
No, well, not specifically, but he just wanted to meet us and hang. Like, we had interviewed him, but he invited us to his office, and we sat and chatted with him for like an hour. And he was buttering us up to not kill him, even though he didn't say that directly.
More teams and coaches should
More
make it.
coaches
I know,
should do
and
that.
I like that.
So you felt bad that you was killing
No, I still killed him after that because he
Good
did a
for
bad
you.
job. But
Can't be bought.
Wait a minute.
at
What was his record?
least when I was killing him the second year, I felt a little bad about it because I liked him. He was a nice guy, but I still had to do
let
my
me see
my
what
gig.
his,
To Mike's earlier point about so-and-so is friends with so-and-so, these are small, like, it's a small world. You don't think that it is. And the NFL is a little bit bigger because the amount of players are bigger and the coaching staffs are bigger and everything. Like, the NBA is really, it's small. Even in the NFL, though, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's friends with everybody on some level. There's a connection.
Yeah.
Are some closer than others? Sure, yeah. But for the most part, everybody knows everybody.
When you look at it, it's so crazy. Even if you have Ryan Day, who is coaching with Chip Kelly, but Chip Kelly used to be his coach and the head coach, and then now it's vice versa. Like, coaching is the biggest fraternity in the world, and they have a very strict code of conduct. That's why people don't fire people during the season.
That's a lot.
They don't listen. I feel like they give them that professional courtesy, unless you are doing, like, if head coaches very rarely say you're relieved of your duties today, because it looks like you just completely lost institutional
It was like
control.
5 teams that did it.
I'm talking about when you talk about the head coaches with assistants.
Oh, okay.
Not the organization.
Okay.
So say for instance,
I got you.
we was calling for Joe Woods. He was
Yeah.
like, man, I can't do Joe
Yeah, I
like
got
that.
you. I got
Because
you.
now the next team's gonna be like, dang, you got fired during the year. What was you doing?
No, they don't get fired during this year. They
Sometimes.
you know what? I'm gonna call the plays. We're gonna keep you around,
Right.
But I'm gonna take over.
I don't want to do you like that. It look crazy. So all these connections. First of all, I got out of it. Coach Prime be getting a crazy rap sometimes. He just speak his mind. For him to say he'd have been to multiple Super Bowls, you're a Hall of Famer. For you to say your best memory is he called him Billy Musgrave getting into the game in the Super Bowl is like, I'm like, you got to be a half decent dude to really even remember that, like even to say that.
Right.
So to
it
me,
was surprising.
To me, that was just a nice little feather in his cap. That he gave him that love. Second of all, I'm with Jason. None of that stuff don't matter. You know what they're gonna pick these dudes on? They're gonna pick these guys on whether they can throw the ball and whether they can be that dude. And even if they were not talkative and they even had some character issues or saying things wrong, the thing about the league is they don't care nothing about that. If they feel like they can work with you and they can make you a ball player and you are the best dude, they're picking you no matter what. It don't matter who your cousin is, your 5th grade report card, whether or not you delivered or went to church on Sunday. No, they don't care about that. They don't care about it just don't work that way. It's just a nice little story that we could talk about and give us some headlines to talk about during the season.
I don't blame the fans for reacting that way, but media members should know better. It's ridiculous.
You know that.
When members of the media say stupid stuff like that. It's just silly.
There's been a lot of talk from some prominent media members with the Milroe-Reese connection and diving too deep on that.
The only good thing about Tommy Reese in terms of Jalen Milroe is that he has some inside information.
Yeah.
But that's not why he has the job. It may potentially be a bonus of him having the job, but he has inside info on all the players, the offensive players
Do you
from
think
Alabama.
Tommy Reese went to Alabama to coach Jalen Milroe?
No.
Of course not.
He had him for 1 year. He was
Next
the
man
OC for
up.
1 year with Jalen Milroe.
And if Tommy Reese went to Kevin Stefanski and said, "Hey, I can make this kid a superstar," that might hold some weight. I'm not saying that's going to happen,
but they're not going to base the decision on the offensive coordinator,
not.
the rookie offensive coordinator.
And they, of course, did not hire him for that reason.
No.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't even think he's allowed to talk in meetings. I'm being serious. Like, if I was Tommy Reese, I wouldn't even give him no input.
Of course they're gonna.
Yeah, he would.
They're gonna.
I'm being facetious, but I'm not gonna knock on the door individually. Hey, but I ain't trying to give Kevin no. He didn't. If he asked me what I think, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, we got to get this guy.
I'm sure Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Reese have talked about Jalen
Of course,
Milroe.
the Browns will go to him and say, "What do you think?" He's going to tell them this and this, and they're going to say, "Okay, thanks. We'll take it under advisement."
Yeah.
And that's it. That's where it ends.
That's it. Ain't gonna be no emailing back and forth.
Yeah.
He's not putting PowerPoints together, talking about this what we ran.
And if they look at Jalen Milroe as the 50th best prospect in this draft, and I don't know if they do it like an order that way, but they're not going to take him at 2 just because we have this connection, we might as well draft him at 2. It's just silly. So this is silly season. Everything's GMs say are lies or distortions of the truth.
How is he look? I know I seen the clips from the first day
Yeah.
at Senior Bowl.
That's silly.
Did he
I was
bounce
getting
back?
mad at you for tweeting.
No, I didn't.
For texting our group about because my guy Darryl Ryder's like, it doesn't look good. I mean, he's practicing for the first time with guys he's never played with.
one day.
No, the reason I brought it up is
irrelevant,
because I thought I seen maybe a clip yesterday of him completing the pass. So obviously he's working with these receivers.
Completed a pass.
So no. Y'all are sick. y'all missing the point.
You realize what you said, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but y'all missing the point. Like,
What's the point?
His chemistry is getting better because he's with these receivers.
Well, now he knows their names.
Yeah.
Sure, but
I think it was Todd McShay, when speaking of Jalen Milroe, since we're on the subject, he said, obviously his athletic ability is through the roof, and his deep ball, he throws a great deep ball, but his short mid-range game is awful. Obviously, who knows if it can be fixed or not. That was his opinion on the situation.
I always say none of it matters. All it takes is for one owner to be like, I want that
That's
guy.
it. That's
and I remind you that Tim Tebow was a first-round pick.
It's true.
Which is insane.
Speaking of that, y'all know I met the homeless guy who told Jimmy Haslam to take Johnny Manziel.
What? Is that? I thought that was a fake story. That's a real story?
Yeah, I met that
I don't
guy.
know about that. How'd you meet? What do you mean?
When
you
I
met
was
that
doing my autograph signing, he was there.
guy? Really? Or he said it was the guy?
How
Or
did
is
you
he-
know it was
Well, he
the
said
right
he
guy?
was. He
Is
said
he
he
still
was
homeless?
The guy. No,
Oh, good for him.
no. But he said he was the guy. He said he watches the show too.
Did a lot of people show up for that? Were there a lot of fans?
Yeah, fans.
Nice.
Yeah, it
All
was
right.
actually a nice. Actually, it was better than I thought it would be.
Did he tell the
was
story,
there.
Ty?
Well, Denzel was there?
Denzel was there.
Was
Yeah.
he friendly?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I was there too. Apparently, they don't like Bobcats.
Oh, you showed up?
I pulled up. They said, hey, man, AG, we saw you on UCSS. I said, I'm here for the Bobcats table. They said, stop playing.
Tyvis, real quick, did the guy tell you the story? Like how it?
No, we was he was just saying like, he's like, hey, yeah, I'm the guy that told Jimmy about to get Johnny Manziel. He said, I was wrong with that, blah blah blah, and then he was like, I watch the show all the time. I'm a fan of everybody on the show and stuff.
Nice.
Like that. I can't remember. It's something Eagle. He said he'd be in the chat. Something Eagle.
I thought that was a made-up story.
What the name is, but he'd be in the chat.
First name Spread?
Maybe.
Spread Eagle.
Maybe that is it. I don't know. No, I'm saying maybe I understand what the joke is, but while you being funny, I think that could potentially be what he said. But it's something Eagle. You funny. Bull crazy.
Ty, he told you to spread Eagle? That's what he told you?
No, he didn't tell me to spread no goddamn Eagle. I don't even play around like that.